Good evening, everyone. Mr. Ambassador. I firstly want to thank PEP here at the embassy for referring me to this program. I want to thank Timmy, Lalua, Adeyemi, Alec Bowman, and Christina Durham from the USAI for their efforts to make this program as smooth as possible. Mary Sue Bissell and the rest of the administrators at USAI for making USAI so great. A truly incredible think tank and institution that harbors intelligence, culture, and widespread hospitality for aspiring foreign service workers. And lastly, I want to thank both the staffers at the Congressional Office of Eric Swalwell for their generosity and kindness in making me feel like one of you, and the staff at the Royal Thai Embassy, specifically P-Gift, Pimo, and Pipik, for their incredible hospitality and guidance throughout this week, as well as His Excellency, Mr. Ambassador. I'm sure that one day one of us will return here with the intention of strengthening US and Thai relations. My name is Kendrick Nikornpan. I graduated from Suffolk University in 2020 from Boston, but originally from the state of Maine. Like a couple of my cohorts here, I was accepted into the TANIP program in 2020. But because of the height of the pandemic, I was deferred into this year's program for 2021. Regardless, I persevered through 2020 like many of us, and made it here eventually. My time in TANIP program was both bizarre and a blessing. Bizarre because the pandemic has changed numerous things around DC, which certainly aren't the same as normal times. But a blessing because I had the ability to be on Capitol Hill with a tremendous opportunity to experience what few can during a pandemic. I always say to people that the best times are the ones that shouldn't have expectations. Having heard about DC's happy hours and reputational receptions, I had no clue if any of that were going to be happening anytime soon. Fortunately, in the weeks progressing, I was able to go out with both my friends from my congressional office, as well as my TANIP cohorts. Even having an opportunity to attend USAI's wonderful outdoor reception, meeting and greeting many wonderful staffers on the Hill. Even having a brief time with our sister program, the Impact Group. And last but not least, having the most amazing opportunity to meet the honorable members of Congress, including my own congressman at the office I was placed in. I knew that coming to DC during the pandemic was definitely unique. I knew that things weren't going to be normal. But as some would say, in situations like these, we must make the most out of them. During orientation facilitated by USAI, joined with our sister program, Impact, we had a swath of speakers talking to us about the Hill, various institutions, and other organizations that have connections to USAI. But the one speaker who spoke out to me the most pertaining to my assigned internship was Ken Neely, who was the previous chief of staff for Barbara Jackson Lee, who told us that a long-lasting impact to the office we were assigned to comes from the work and dedication that is given to the elected office every day. I mean that by the constituents the office serves, such as writing letters, responding to constituent requests, and even for my case, answering the numerous phone calls coming from constituents and non-constituents. While the majority of calls weren't too pleasant, it gave me valuable aspect about listening to passionate individuals who truly cared about this nation and the office in which they represent. Other work pertaining to the office was also attending briefings for the legislation team, such as writing up memos regarding important discussions for possible legislation, keeping up with constituent correspondence through our office constituent interface called IndyGov, and even running to grab our congressman a cup of coffee. No matter how big the task or how small, to me, everything is important. Assisting the congressional office ledge team with their tasks to our interests was a pleasure because I could really understand the grind and labor it takes to serve the people. Having that relationship in the office is essential, and as such, I gave my effort every day with enthusiasm to the office without question. Surely tiring because of my prior lack of knowledge of assisting constituents in an environment that serves the people, but also fulfilling knowing that even with that lack of knowledge, I made someone on the other side of the phone call feel that their voice was heard. For the time I spent with my amazing fellow coworkers at my congressional office, I won't forget the experiences we had from walking down the halls of Capitol Building, other congressional offices, and the libraries of Congress. And for my Thai American intern cohorts, I won't forget our after-work meetups, hangouts at one of our general spots or urban Thai restaurant, coupled with brutal clowning sessions of one another, but also fantastic walks through here at the Royal Embassy, the consular's office, and at Mr. Ambassador's residence. Or just between ourselves, getting to understand the important work that is done here. Furthermore, whether we are graduating or continue on with higher education, while we part ways in comforting knowing that the memories that we share are inseparable. I remember a time when I was very young. My family would visit the Thai temple in Queens, New York, which was one place at a time I call a community, till we closed the gates one Sunday evening for the last time. Being so far away from those whom I considered like me, I thought for a while as a child I couldn't imagine myself to be around others that shared similar experiences like me, or have the urge to return to the homeland to serve the country in some sort of way. Yet, here we are. To have a group of diverse individuals who share similar backgrounds, similar family structure, but also blend so well with each other is a blessing in of itself. I'm truly blessed that I have Thai Americans like me who are inspired and determined to make significant strides. To have an impact on the relationship between these two great nations. Besides the aspirations of becoming the next in line diplomats, political figures, or academic scholars, in the short amount of time we've spent with each other, we've become the closest of friends. As a Thai American being here to support US-Thai relations, my hopes for the future are for a stronger connection in Congress, organizations, and institutions that support representation and advocating for minority image. During my time on the Hill, I rarely saw any people of Asian descent, or even less specifically, Thai Americans. My hope is that me, as well as my other cohorts being here, encourages other Thai Americans to take part in programs such as TANIP and others to further strengthen US-Thai relations. Because we, like Senator Tammy Duckworth, being at our respective offices, we are that relationship. And with that, I call up Catherine. Thank you so much.